Hey y'all. So I'll just go ahead and make a separate video for the um, kids that are at home, since y'all are on the Monsters Lair. So I'll kind of read through some of it, and I'll kind of just point out a few things. All right, the Monsters Lairs. I've heard that my people, peasants working in the fields, have seen a pair of such fiends wandering in the moors and the marshes, giant monsters living in these desert lands. And they said to my wise men that as well as they could see, one of the devils was a female creature. The other, they say, walked through the wilderness like a man, but mightier than any man. They were frightened and they fled, hoping to find help and hear it. They named the huge one uh, Grendel. If he had a father, no one knew him. Well, whether there had been others before these two, hidden evil. They live in secret places, windy cliffs, wolf dens where water pours from from the rocks, then runs underground where mist steams like black clouds, and the groves of trees growing out over their lake are all covered with frozen spray and wind down like snake-like roots that reach as far as the water and help keep it dark. At night, that lake burns like a torch. No one knows its bottom. No wisdom reaches such depths. A deer hunted through the woods by packs of hounds, a stag with great horns, though driven through the forest from faraway places, prefers to die on these shores, refuses to save its life in that water. It isn't far, nor is it a pleasant spot. When the wind stirs and storms waves splash towards the sky, as dark as the air, as dark as the air, as black as the rain that the heavens sweep. Our only help, our only help, again lies with you. Grendel's mother is hidden in her terrible home, in a place you've not seen. Seek it if you dare. Save us once more, and again, twisted gold, headed up, ancient treasure will reward you for the battle you win. Beowulf seeks. Beowulf resolved to kill Grendel's monstrous mother. He travels to the lake in which she lives. The battle with Grendel's mother. Then Edgetho's brave son spoke. Remember Hrothgar, O knowing king. Now, when my danger is near, the warm words we uttered, and if your enemy should end my life, then be, O generous prince, forever the father and protector of all whom I leave behind me here in your hands. My beloved comrades left with no leader, their leader dead, and the precious gifts you gave me. My friend, send them to Higlac. May he see in their golden brightness the Geats' lord, gazing at your treasure, that here in Denmark I found a noble protector, a giver of rings, whose rewards I won and briefly relish. And you, Umfirth, let my famous old sword stay in your hands. I shall shape glory with runting or die, or death will hurry me from this earth. As his words ended, he leaped into the lake, would not wait for anyone's answer. The heaving water covered him over. For hours he sank through the waves. At last he saw the mud of the bottom, and all at once the greedy she-wolf, who'd ruled those waters for half 100 years, discovered him. Saw that a creature from above had come to explore the bottom of her wet world. She welcomed him in with her claws, clutched at him savagely, but could not harm him. Tried to work her fingers through the tight ring-woven mail on his breath, um, but tore and scratched in vain. Then she carried him, armor and sword and all, to her home. He struggled to free his weapon and failed. The fight brought other monsters swimming to see her catch, a host of sea beasts who beat at his mail shirt, stabbing with tusks and teeth as they followed along. Then he realized suddenly that she had brought him into someone's battle hall, and there the water's heat could not hurt him, nor anything in the lake attack him through the building's high arching roof. A brilliant light burned all around him, the lake itself like a fiery flame. Then he saw the mighty water witch and swung his sword, his ring-marked blade, straight at her head. The iron sang its fierce song, sang Beowulf's song. But her guests discovered that no sword could slice her evil skin, that runting could not hurt her, was useless now when he needed. They wrestled, she ripped and tore and clawed at him, bit holes in his helmet, and that too failed him. For the first time in years of being worn to war, it would earn him no glory. It was the last time anyone would wear it. But Beowulf longed only for fame, leaped back into battle. He tossed his sword aside, angry the steel-edged blade lay where he dropped it. If weapons were useless, he used his hands to strengthen his fingers. So fame comes to the men who mean to win it and care about nothing else. He raised his arms and seized her by the shoulder. Anger doubled his strength. He threw her to the floor. She fell. Grendel's fierce mother and the Geats' proud prince was ready to leap on her, but she rose at once and repaid him with her clutching claws, wildly tearing at him. He was weary, the best and strongest of soldiers. His feet stumbled, and in an instant she had him down, held helpless. Squatting with her weight on his stomach, she drew a dagger, brown with dried blood, and prepared to avenge her only son. But he was stretched on his back, and her stabbing blade was blunted by the woven mail shirt he wore on his chest. The hammered links held, the point could not touch him. He'd have traveled to the bottom of the earth, had Getho's son, and died there. That shining woven mail had not helped. And holy God, who sent him victory, gave judgment for truth and right, ruler of the heavens. Once Beowulf was back on his feet and fighting. Then he saw, hanging on the wall, a heavy sword hammered by giants, strong and blessed with their magic, the best of all weapons, but so massive that no ordinary man could lift its carved and decorated length. He drew it from its scabbard, broke the chain on its hilt, and then Savage, now angry and desperate, lifted it high over his head and struck with all the strength he had left, caught her in the neck and cut it through, broke bones and all. Her body fell to the floor, lifeless. The sword was wet with her blood, and Beowulf rejoiced at the sight. The brilliant light shone suddenly as though burning in that hall, and as bright as heaven's own candle lit in the sky. He looked at her home, and um, following along the wall, went walking, his hands tight on the sword, his heart still angry. He was hunting another dead monster and took his weapon with him for final revenge against Grendel's vicious attacks, his nighttime raids, over and over, coming to hear it when Hrothgar's men slept, killing them in their beds, eating some on the spot, 15 or more, and running to his loathsome moor with another sickening meal waiting in his pouch. But Beowulf repaid him for those visits, found him lying dead in his corner, armless, exactly as that fierce fighter had sent him out from here. Then struck off his head with a single swift blow. Um, his, uh, the body jerked for the last time, then lay still. The wise old warriors who surrounded Hrothgar, like him staring into the monstrous lake, saw the waves surging and blood spurting through. They spoke about Beowulf. All the grey beards whispered together and said that hope was gone, that the hero had lost fame and his life at once, and would never return to the living and come back as triumphant as he had left. Almost all agreed that Grendel's mighty mother, the she-wolf, had killed him. The sun slid over past Moon, went further down. The Danes gave up, left the lake, and went home, Hrothgar with them. The Geats stayed sadly watching, uh, imagining they saw their lord, but not believing they would ever see him again. Then the sword melted and blood soaked, dripping down like water, disappearing like ice when the world's eternal Lord loosens invisible fetters and unwinds icicles and frosts as only he can. He who rules time and seasons, he who is truly God. The monster's hall was full of rich treasures, but all that Beowulf took was Grendel's head and the hilt of the giant's jeweled sword. The rest of that ring-marked blade had dissolved in Grendel's steaming blood. boiling even after his death. And then the battle's only survivor swam up and away from those silent corpses. The water was calm and clean, the whole huge lake peaceful once the demons who lived in it were dead. Then that noble protector of all seamen swam to land, rejoicing in the heavy burdens he was bringing with him. He and all his glorious band of Geats thanked God that their leader had come back unharmed. They left the lake together. The Geats carried Beowulf's helmet and his mail shirt. Behind them, the water slowly thickened as the monster's blood came seeping up. They walked quickly, happily across rows all of them remembered, left the lake and the cliffs alongside it. Brave men staggered under the weight of Grendel's skull, too heavy for fewer than four of them to handle, two on each side of the spear jammed through it. Yet proud of their ugly load and determined that the Danes seated in Herod should see it. Soon 14 Geats arrived at the hall, bold and warlike, and with Beowulf, their lord and leader, they walked on the meat hall green. Then the Geats' brave prince entered Herod, covered with glory for the daring battles he had fought. He sought Hrothgar to salute him and show Grendel's head. He carried that terrible trophy by the hair, brought it straight to where the Danes sat drinking, the queen among them. It was a weird and wonderful sight, and the warriors stared.